I don't know how many of you have heard already, but filmmaker Zack Cregger has a bona fide banger on his hands with this past weekend's Weapons. And Weapons just so happens to be distributed under the Warner Brothers banner. So now the question is, will WB use the talent at their disposal wisely, or will they let another talented individual slip through their fingers due to their own incompetence? Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So filmmaker Zack Cregger has been out doing a lot of press, a lot of interviews, with his new film being released in theaters this week. And not only do a lot of people seem to be enjoying this movie, myself included, we are also getting a little glimpse into who he is as a creator. Based on his interviews, he is clearly very passionate about film. He understands quality cinema when he sees it, and he cited films like Prisoners and Pulp Fiction as inspiration for his current film. He's also clearly open to collaboration, as he recently shared that iconic filmmaker David Fincher helped him out a lot during and after the production of Weapons. Real recognize real. It must be nice to get notes on your film from someone who is actually respected and a quality filmmaker.
I understood that reference.
If I'm going to listen to any constructive film criticism when it comes to my own film, it's going to be from someone like David Fincher. As an upcoming filmmaker, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it appears that Zack Cregger welcomed it with open arms. And to me, that shows that he is a smart creator, and he doesn't have a huge ego. Bottom line, there is a lot to like about this guy, and as I said in my Weapons review, I will be on the lookout for more projects from him in the near future. And as much as I'd rather him stick to developing original ideas, because apparently that's where he shines, I couldn't help but be intrigued by a DC movie pitch that he recently talked about with The Hollywood Reporter. Zack Cregger has written a DC film called Henchmen that he would love to make but hasn't pitched it to DC studios yet. Henchmen would reportedly center on a low-level henchman in the Gotham crime world who gains notoriety after managing to incapacitate Batman through a stroke of luck. The Dark Knight would appear briefly in the movie, while Harley Quinn and Joker are in the project as well. And DC Studios is said to be aware of Cregger's interest. I'm just going to start this off by saying this is exactly the type of thing that I think WB should be doing with DC, rather than trying to turn the DCU into the MCU 2.0.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Since well before the DCU was even a thing, I have strongly advocated for WB and DC to embrace one-off films, or even Elseworlds tales. Hire talented storytellers who are passionate about standalone stories, and get out of their way and let them cook. Because to me, that's where DC has always excelled. To me, that's where DC has always outperformed Marvel and could continue to set themselves apart from their competition. Embrace the Todd Phillips Joker route, minus the sequel. Embrace the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy route. Embrace the Matt Reeves Batman route. Self-contained filmmaker-driven stories are, to me, how DC saves their brand. Cinematic universes are a thing of the past as far as I'm concerned. At this point, it's been done to death, and more often than not, they are a burden on creativity.
No, don't like that.
Because it limits the stories that you can tell. Sometimes it even limits the characters that you can use. If you give talented filmmakers like Zack Cregger complete freedom to do as they please, then I strongly believe that there is a good chance that magic will happen. Because continuing to go the filmmaking by committee route is exactly what killed this genre to begin with. Having talented filmmakers at the mercy of some guys in a suit sitting at a table, or a less talented filmmaker with an ego, is never a recipe for success. The idea of a standalone story not connected to the DCU or any other movie before it, set in Gotham, told from the perspective of a henchman, sounds a hell of a lot interesting than anything that DC has coming down the pipeline. This is exactly what this genre needs. It needs these unconventional creative takes to get us away from the formulaic nature of these movies that we've been stuck with for most of the last 8 to 10 years.
It's true.
For the love of God, show me something with these characters and these worlds that I haven't seen before in live action. Imagine what a talented filmmaker could do using a character like Batman in a limited capacity. Even a character like Joker, for that matter, in a limited capacity. Imagine how you can make these characters feel special again by not overexposing them. By looking at them from a different angle. By treating them as these mythical beings that people only hear stories about. To me, that's how you make these characters and these worlds relevant again. You strip things down and you take things back to basics as a way of reestablishing them. And for the love of God, because it's a Batman story in live action, you can keep it grounded. Batman in live action works best when it's grounded.
I swear to God. Swear to me!
Plus, you have to consider that a movie like this probably wouldn't cost $300 million to make. It could probably be done for a fraction of that, so imagine the financial upside from the studio perspective. With a lot of these big budget superhero movies that focus on spectacle, underperforming or flopping, wouldn't logic tell you to scale things back just a little bit? And maybe focus on characters and storytelling instead of chasing that Marvel ghost. To me, that is exactly what Zack Cregger is offering. The question is, will they be smart enough to embrace it? Here's my concern. Let's say they do say yes to his script, and after that script gets passed around a little bit, Zack Cregger starts to get those dreaded notes. You see, I like what you did here, Zack, but can you change this? Or can you not use this character because we want to use him in the DCU instead? Or worse, let's change this thing that you created and try to make it fit into whatever we are trying to accomplish in the DCU.
No, 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 no! Hell no!
And before you know it, Zack Cregger is rewriting a script that looks nothing like the original idea he pitched. And then you have fanboys online ridiculing him because he's taking too long to make this movie. I'm inclined to believe that studio meddling could very easily ruin a dream project like this, because we've seen it happen so many times before at WB and DC. So as much as I'd love to see Zack Cregger doing his thing in this world, bringing his darkly comedic, horrific tone to the DC universe, I still have my doubts that it's the best thing for him because of who he would be working under. Out of all of the upcoming DC projects, I actually think the Clayface film will be our best indication as to whether or not WB intends to let these projects roll out like the original writer intended. How much of Clayface will be Mike Flanagan's original idea, and how much of it has been altered by the studio? I guess we'll have to wait and see until next year when Clayface is released. But if I was Zack Cregger, I would use caution before jumping into bed with DC and WB. At least until we have a better idea of how the new regime is handling creative freedom.
Y'all be cool. Right on.